It's The Log. I'm Charles Purcell. Oh, there he is. Uncle Chuck is here. Hi, Uncle Chuck.
Hello there, Charles Purcell.
And Chucky Bucky.
Hey there, who there?
Thought we'd bring the two guys in today, do a little lightning round on the news. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do exactly. I know that news is happening way too fast, especially on the coronavirus, so it's moving too fast. We're not going to try to provide you with any news. We'll have our little conversation here and be whatever service we can, but go somewhere else for up-to-the-date news. That's not what this is for today.
Well, of course not. What day is it anyway?
Well, whatever day it is.
I know, it's hard to keep track, right?
I can tell you this much. We are talking possibly days before you listen. Understand, we're recording this before you listen. So I'm not sure what happened between now and then.
Right. For example, we're talking before the Sunday night debate between Joe and Bernie. And that's something that's going to be obviously very monumental in the news as well.
Right. Oh, can't wait to find out there. But like you see, some people listening might have already known about that. So, it's kind of tricky. So how are we going to handle this today?
Well, we'll just I don't know. Let's just see how it goes. But the point is, clock's ticking pretty fast here. Let's see what we got time for. Again, I do want to talk about coronavirus, but in a way that makes it clear we're not going to give you any advice. We're not going to give you any late-breaking news because of what I said earlier, the gap between our recording this program and you listening to it, I'm not sure what that is. And also, I'm in no position to give advice. Right, guys? Uncle Chuck, what do you think?
Well, yes, exactly right. There's plenty of advice to be had if you find it in the right places. And I guess if we're going to be of any service today, I think that's the way you put it, Charles Purcell, and I like that. If we're going to be of any service to our listeners, I think our main goal today would be just to remind you of what we've tried to tell you in the past. Charles Purcell talks about it almost every week on the show, and the three of us have talked about it before too. And that is the kind of media you expose yourself to. Talk about being exposed to a virus. Every day when you expose yourself to certain media, you are being infected by viral misinformation and viral spin that only hurts you and it hurts the nation, it hurts all of us as a community of people. So if we have a bottom line today, it's to say, be careful about the media you're consuming because there's a lot of damn really poor media out there.
You know, that's a good way to put it. I'm with you.
All right. Okay. Uncle Chuck, good. Thank you for kind of bringing that into focus for us. That really is the only message you're going to get from us on coronavirus today. I mean, obviously, when all sporting events, all public gatherings, Broadway is shut down. By the time you hear this, we may very well have every school closed down. We may be in quarantine. I'm not an expert. I will not pretend to be an expert. And let me just say, I'm really, truly annoyed, and I'm going to scold you right now. If you're posting in your social media your little damned opinion about whether it's hyperbole or whether, we should be panicking or not panicking, if you're posting your damn little opinion, then I'm scolding you. Cut it out. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Let's try a little humility for a couple of weeks here, shall we? As Uncle Chuck said, we're always harping around here about finding credible news sources. We need to have that. And usually when we talk about this, it's in the context of being a good citizen, of being a good voter. Find actual information, not just all the spin and the garbage. Well, with coronavirus, now it becomes even more vital. It becomes even more immediate. So as you're reading this stuff, as you're taking it in, be selective. Go to sources you can trust. And anybody that's a little bit sketchy, just turn them off. And I'm sure there's lots of great information on CNN, but there's also a lot of talking heads spouting garbage. And you don't need it. I can tell you I personally go to, the places I go, mentioned a couple times already today, I go to PBS NewsHour, the standard NPR shows, Morning Edition, All Things Considered, basic, standard, run-of-the-mill stuff. I listen to Democracy Now! Every day. They certainly have a point of view. Of course they do. But nobody questions their credibility. Of course they have a point of view politically. But by any standard, by any test, Democracy Now! Is an upright institution. It does not spin. It does not lie. It does not promote irresponsible, shouting opinions. It's a bona fide, credible source by any standard. Right, guys?
We're with you. Okay. So bottom line on coronavirus, I want to repeat too, because, oh my goodness, the people in social media who are just spouting their own dopey little opinions, who have no business doing it, you're just gumming up the works and you're not helping. In fact, you're hurting very much. And, I'm not going to tell you again, like somebody already said here, I think Charles Purcell, or maybe Uncle Chuck, you don't have to, say, oh, we're panicking unduly, or, oh no, panic, run in the street. I'm not going to put my thumb on that scale on where you should be. I'm just going to say, obviously it's serious. Don't be a big dope and say it's nothing. And do all the regular stuff they're telling you to do. Wash your hands and keep your distance from people. And however long this takes, a couple of weeks or a month or maybe more, so there. So just do it.
And then I guess the last thing I'd say about coronavirus is this whole thing about how it affects the economy.
Oh, I know where you're going with this one. I can see it in your eyes.
Oh, I know you do. I do too. I know where you're going.
Well, of course you do. I will never understand people.
They're the worst.
Yeah. Seinfeld quote. Yeah. I will never understand people. They're the worst. Under extreme circumstances, canceling a bunch of sports ball games, in the bigger picture, who the hell cares? Under these special conditions, canceling Broadway shows for a couple weeks or a month, in the grand scheme, who cares? It's a tiny sacrifice to save lives. And right on that same level, if you're a factory worker and they close down your factory where they make plastic poop, who cares? Shut it down. You can't take a cruise this year. Who cares? All non-essential activity, just shut it down. Who cares? Well, I'll tell you why we care. Because we got to get the paycheck. So it comes down to what, guys?
I know.
Money. And if I go to my grave saying this, the fact that we are supposed to work for this economy rather than the economy working for us is completely bass-ackwards. People count on all these savings for their retirement, and then their savings are gutted by the market crash. None of it makes any damn sense. This master-slave relationship that we have with money makes no sense. It has to end. The ridiculous orange blob getting up there talking about how, we have to save the cruise industry. We have to save the airline industry. We have to save tourist industry. Lord mercy mighty, we don't have to organize ourselves like this. Money only creates problems. It creates inequality among people, and it gums up the works when we have to get something done. Like this, like a special emergency. If we lived in a world where money was not the master, and we were not the slaves, if we lived in a world where money was gone, well, then something like this happens. We'll say, okay, boom, boom, boom. Everybody just stay home for a month. Fine. Everybody's fine. All non-essential activities, please cease for a month. We all just agree. Okay, that's fine. But instead, people are trapped. They have to go to their jobs. And then if they can't go to their jobs, they don't get paid. And if they don't get paid, they can't buy what they need because they need money to buy what they need. And that's the problem. That's the core problem with this world.
Money gotta go, money gotta go, money gotta go. Money gotta go, money gotta go, money gotta go, money gotta go, money gotta go. This world is just backwards. So whatever's going on with the coronavirus today in your world, I'm sorry that we live in this world we do. If the world made any sense at all, money would not be an issue. So I hope everything's working out for you. Somehow the business you work for will compensate you, will help you. Whatever state and federal entities can come in with funding to provide sick leave for people, some compensation for all the work lost, the business lost. This ridiculous Rube Goldberg system, this convoluted Rube Goldberg system we've got set up. If that can spit out some money and help you get through this, I hope that's the case for everybody. Oh my goodness, that made me angry. You all right there, Charles Purcell? Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you. All right. So, okay, we spent too much time on that. Just a quick note on the primaries before we go. All right. So, as we record this, we mentioned this earlier, this is before the Sunday debate. It's the first time it's going to be a one-on-one with Joe and Bernie. Now, here's my bottom line. People calling on Bernie to drop out after Tuesday, after Michigan and Washington and Missouri and the others. That is just crazy. That's just wrong. It's ridiculous. And I'm disappointed in anyone who called for that. If you do the math, and the numbers aren't even that certain, because the California delegates, it's way too complicated, guys. We need to do some more shows on fixing democracy. I was going to say it's not even completely clear on what numbers they have. The reported numbers are 860 to 710, Biden in the lead. But that's kind of nebulous in itself because the process is so complicated. We don't even know the exact number from California, the exact number of delegates. So once it's all sorted out, actually, Bernie could be in the lead at this point as we speak. A lot of people don't realize that. I didn't realize that. But I looked up the numbers, and the most up-to-date numbers I could find were 860 to 710, with 25 states to go. So if this was a basketball game, it would be canceled. Oh, that's right. It would be canceled. Right? No more. Hey, you guys, with the NBA canceled, does that mean the Milwaukee Bucks are champions now? Can we crown them? Let's lower the flag at Fiserv Stadium. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks are the 2020 NBA champions. It doesn't quite work like that, I don't think, Chucky Bucky. No, the NBA's announcement about suspending the season, they left an opening. They don't know what they're doing right now. It is suspended for the moment. We'll see if they come up with anything else. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, geez, I'm sorry I interrupted you. What were you saying there, Charles Purcell? About right, if the Joe and Bernie was a basketball game. Right. I was just making the comparison. If Joe and Bernie were a basketball game, the score would be 43 to 36, based on the latest numbers I could find, at halftime. At halftime. So you don't stop the game. And again, if you count these things right, it's so complicated, Bernie might actually have a delegate lead at the moment. And I'll tell you another thing. Okay, now this is not sour grapes, and this is not digging up old news. But this is legitimate stuff here. We all know that the DNC has got their thumb on the scale for Joe, right? I don't know if what they can do about it at this point, but we know for a fact that Massachusetts, California, and Texas, all three of those primaries were terribly flawed. And if there were any independent election observers there, like the way Jimmy Carter used to go out and observe elections as an international monitor, the UN will do that from time to time. There are other organizations that still do that. If there was any independent monitor at those elections, well, my goodness, the problems were absolutely clear. Now, one of the Charles Purcell, have you talked about this on the show before? Yeah, I think we mentioned this. Go ahead. I think I know what you're talking about. Right. The Massachusetts in particular, the exit polls, and this is one of the criteria that campaign monitors use when they're checking on the veracity on the fairness of elections. Okay, the difference between Sanders' exit polling and the actual votes counted in Massachusetts. His exit poll was over 30, and his reported vote count was 26.5 or something like that. So the difference is a 12.4% negative. Elizabeth Warren, almost 15% negative. Biden, over 16% positive. So there's a very serious problem in Massachusetts counting the votes. So for my money, Bernie won Massachusetts, even though he didn't officially. Bottom line, it's ridiculous. It's just ludicrous to think of Bernie dropping out at this point. Also, Texas and California had long lines. People waiting 5, 6, 7 hours. People in tears, giving up. Some people had to, I can't, I've been waiting 3 hours and I'm still not in. I have to leave now because I have to go to work. Because of money, right? Money. So there are all sorts of problems. And you know what? Bernie is not complaining about any of this. These are from independent sources. Officials in Texas calling into question the results of the Texas primary. This is not partisan stuff. This is not Jill Stein. This is not Bernie Sanders. These are not campaigns. These are public officials. Did you make a note of that? Yeah, I did. Here it is. Super Tuesday Biden victories questioned by election watchers. Okay, so that's the article. Let's see if... Okay. Wildly divergent exit polls in South Carolina and Massachusetts and documented voting problems in California and Texas have prompted veteran election watchers to suggest that there may have been election fraud and voter suppression on Super Tuesday, always at the expense of the Bernie Sanders vote. They talk about the exit polls. They talked about the Biden bounce, which was insane. I know you talked about this on last week's show, but oh my goodness. So there's lots of, hanky-panky going on. And credit to Bernie. He's not really talking about this. Good for him. He's not whining and complaining, although he could. Everything's against him. The referees are against him, and there's all this shenanigans going on, and he's not really raising a word about it. Good for him. He's rising above it. The only way he's going to take this thing is if he just wins by a large enough margin that they can't steal it from him. So, so we're looking forward to the debate Sunday night. And again, by the time you hear this, maybe you've already seen the Sunday night debate. For me, not having seen it yet, I'm just really curious to know what that's going to look like. But to expect Bernie just to drop out, James Clyburn, who famously endorsed Biden in South Carolina, made the big difference, and that was the catalyst that launched him into his big surge. Clyburn came out after Michigan and said Bernie should drop out. When it's 43-36 halftime, that's the basketball analogy. It is halftime. We still have, we have the Sunday debate, and then Tuesday, March 17th, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Ohio. Now that's big. Because then after that, and then let's look at the calendar. End of March, Georgia. Beginning of April, Alaska, Hawaii, Louisiana, Wyoming. This is nothing. April 7th, Wisconsin. Unless Bernie really does well, Wisconsin is going to be meaningless this time. Then we finish up with Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland. Pennsylvania and New York are big, and they don't happen until April 28th. Okay, April 28th. So, and then there's nothing big after that. I'm looking at the calendar here. Oregon, May 19th. Yeah, New York and Pennsylvania, April 28th. I can see this going that far because here's how it goes. If. It's a big if. All right, I'm not saying it's not. It's a big if. All right, it's a big if. If Bernie does really well, and this is a huge opportunity, the first time that they're going to be one-on-one. If Bernie does really, really well at the debate, and if Joe really falters, if he really falters badly, and we see a new Bernie surge in Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio on Tuesday, March 17th, the St. Patrick's Day primary, now we got a whole new ball game. And they just got to hang in there.
then Wisconsin becomes relevant. And then everybody's looking at the calendar, and it's when we're looking all the way up ahead to April 28th, when New York and Pennsylvania vote in their primary. I would not be surprised if it goes there. Now, there's the other side of the equation. It certainly may happen. Bernie does not make a big showing at Sunday's debate. He does not make a big showing in Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio on St. Patrick's Day. Joe continues his surge. He continues on the same trajectory. And if he does, it might very well be time to just say, all right, that's it. Guys, that's the way it could go. And I would say, okay, here's my thought. All right, let's take your first scenario, that Bernie has a big Sunday night debate on their first one-on-one, and that he makes a big comeback in Arizona. Where did you say? Who's on Tuesday?
Florida, Illinois, Ohio.
Great, Florida, Illinois, Ohio. Okay, those are really big states. Oh, lots of delegates. Oh, my goodness. Especially Florida, Illinois, Ohio. You kidding me? Those are really big prizes. So let's take the first case scenario. Bernie does really well. He's in it. Now, here's the way it's got to go forward. Everybody has to take a step back, take a deep breath, and just stop all the noise and just shut the heck up and let them make their case, each of them for themselves, and just go vote. Shut up about everything. Just don't even post about it, or don't give me your dopey little opinions. I don't care anymore. I don't want to hear them. Just let them make their case and just go vote. Oh, criminy. And just let the process do what it does. Why would you even schedule? Why would you even schedule primaries on April 28th? Or even, let's see, it goes even further. Kentucky, Oregon, Montana, they came all the way down to Craig's. Into June, the first week of June, they got primaries. Why would they even schedule them? Okay, why would they even schedule them if everybody expected the thing to be over in mid-March or early March? Come on. Just go do it. Have your elections and just do it. I can't believe, you got to shut up and just vote and just, okay. So if Bernie plays big here in this coming weekend, in this next primary round of primaries, St. Patrick's Day, everybody take a deep breath and swallow a couple of chill pills and just let the process play out. And don't get all crazy. Don't have to get crazy. There's no need.
All right, good. Chucky Bucky, thanks. Uncle Chuck, okay. Uncle Chuck, if it goes the other way, if, let's say Joe really crushes it on St. Patrick's Day, he gets through the debate unscathed, and he crushes it on St. Patrick's Day. All right, okay. So you want me to take that scenario?
Yeah.
Okay, that scenario. Well, then here's the deal. If Joe crushes it, then I would jump on board with everybody else and say, and I might add here, I think Bernie Sanders would say the exact same thing. If he was here with you right now, he'd say, all right, yes, just between the three of us, if Joe crushes me in Florida, Illinois, and Ohio, and Arizona, well, then that's it. Then I will drop out of the race, and maybe he'll do what he did against Hillary 4 years ago. That he won't officially surrender his delegates. He'll take them to the convention and use whatever political capital he has. They'll continue to have the primaries, and he'll still pick up delegates in Georgia and Wisconsin and Delaware and Maryland and Connecticut. And like you said, New York and Pennsylvania, still big prizes. So he'll do exactly what he did. He'll stay on as a candidate. He'll continue to gather delegates, while all the while saying quite out loud, quite openly to everyone, okay, folks, I'm not going to be the nominee. That's what he did in 2016. He'd go out, he'd make an address. He'd say, I'm not going to be the nominee, but I'm not surrendering my delegates yet. We're going to take these to the convention, and we're going to use this political capital. We're going to use the delegates we rightfully earned, and we're going to give them their voice in the convention. There's nothing insidious about that. It's just, that's the way you make things happen. So you're saying if St. Patrick's Day is a total annihilation of Bernie. Right, yes.
And Joe really takes it in a very strong way.
Yes.
and the delegate numbers really start to spread, right, then you think Bernie himself will do that. He'll drop out. Well, so to speak, drop out. Yes, that's what I think. And I think that would be the right thing to do. I think so far he's played it exactly right. Saying it's ridiculous to ask me to drop out now, but let's face it, goodness, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, those are big states. And if he gets crushed, well, then there, he'll understand. He'll see the writing on the wall right there.
And then you just got to hope for the best for Joe, None of us liked him when we went through how many? After one of back in October, the three of us here did a show talking about we ranked them, right? We ranked the candidates after a debate, and I think there were 12. And we had Bernie number 1 on our list. Elizabeth Warren was number 2. And then on down the list, and our last choice, number 12, very last on the list, was Joe. None of us wanted Joe. So if he's going to be it, then we just got to hope for the best. And I guess we'll leave that conversation for another time. Let's not.
Oh yeah. I agree. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not anticipate that. So one more very telling Tuesday. It was Super Tuesday, then it was Mini Tuesday, now it's Telling Tuesday. All right, guys. Lots more we could talk about, but the time has gone quickly. One quick note before we go. I saw Christiana Figuera on Amanpour and Company the other day. Check out her new book. Again, it's Christiana Figuera, and her new book is called The Future We Choose. The Future We Choose. And it was quite a compelling interview, and I'm looking forward to reading this book, and I want to recommend it to you because the climate crisis has to be in our thoughts every day. Christiana Figuera, The Future We Choose. So, climate crisis, primaries still to come, the big debate, coronavirus, stay calm, find reputable news, and keep up to date. Wash your hands, isolate if you need to. We'll be okay. But we got to take this seriously. And again, so much more we could talk about. There always is, but half hour goes quickly. If you're listening on air right now, on your old-fashioned radio, on most of these stations, next you're going to hear Charles Purcell Presents. And we gave the CBP Ensemble a week off. I'm just doing a little commentary, a little bit of a deep dive on how we can make democracy less stupid. So that's coming up. If you are a subscriber and you're listening on one of the many platforms, then that should be next up on your queue. There it is. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Charles Purcell. See you next time.
Okay, then. Hi there, ho there, everybody.
All right. Hang in there.
Take care. Be safe. Be healthy.
See ya. This episode of The Log is available right now wherever you find your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, iHeart, YouTube, and the podcast source. Enter Charles Purcell Presents in the search window. Or best yet, go to charlespurcell.com. There you'll find this and all the other series in the podcast family. Follow, comment, and contact me on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks to our flagship terrestrial station, River West Radio, riverwestradio.com. Theme music composed and performed by Peter Donalds. From the New Arts and Media Studios in Milwaukee, I'm Charles Purcell.